Good evening, YouTube. You guys are now watching another segment of the Logic Effect. Today, for Yu-Gi-Oh! Logic, we're going to be talking about dealing with Backrow. Now, we have three wonderful cards that deal with Backrow, all in a different way. We have Royal Decree, and its effective needs negate all other trap cards on the field. We have Mystical Space Typhoon, which says, target one spell or trap card on the field. Destroy that target. And then we also have the growing in popularity Full House. Select 2 face-up spell or trap cards, except this card, and 3 set spell or trap cards. Destroy the selected cards. Really, really good things. So let's go into them. Royal Decree. Now, when you're playing a trap card like Royal Decree in your deck, something that a lot of Bujin players have started to switch to, it almost comes to you can't run any traps whatsoever. Why? Well, because Royal Decree negates all trap cards on the field. And, you know, typically, unless you're running breakthrough skills and skill prisoners, which is not actually a bad idea, Royal Decree is going to negate your traps. So, it doesn't really help you at all. A lot of decks that need that back row heavy presence definitely can't benefit from Royal Decree at all, unless somehow you find a way to side out all of those traps and side into something else. But Royal Decree does have really good uses in decks like Lightsworn, aforementioned Bujins, Noble Knights when they don't decide to run any traps. It's just a lot of good decks that can take advantage of Royal Decree. Its only flaw is that you can't use a trap, so your deck better not have any, better have some other type of defenses, because it's not going to work with Royal Decree. It also takes away Gores if you ever decided to run it, because, well, in theory, Royal Decree is a continuous spell card. So, you'll always have it on the field, in theory. It's not always going to work that way. Gores will not be able to be activated because you do have a spell or drop card on the field. Don't be like those players, drop Gores, and you have a field spell card or a Royal Decree on the field. Sorry, it doesn't really work that way. But, essentially, Royal Decree is just a really good card. I know this kind of sounds like 3 Meta Mondays put into one, because we're going to go into trivia. That actually is, I'm pretty sure that's like the Solemn guys from Imperial Order, Imperial Custom, all those cards in there. But let's just get down to the next one. Mystical Space Typhoon. There's a lot of logic, a lot of pro play, a lot of desire and segregation between the good players and the bad players with Mystical Space Typhoon. And this day and age, in this format, I didn't want to believe it. Triple Mystical Space Typhoon is almost mandatory. It's like you have to. Actually, let me actually make another one. Because this is another card I wanted to talk about now that I think about it. Because these two cards go hand in hand. We're going to be talking about Forbidden Lance as well, but we'll get to that in a second. Bam! So, Mystical Space Typhoon, like I said, dissects the good players from the bad players. Why? Because bad players like go, Derp Space Typhoon! Ah! While the better players will read the opponent's plays and play the Mystical Space Typhoon accordingly. It's always not smart to set the Mystical Space Typhoon either, because you set it, and then that's your only set card, and then on end phase, you just lose a Mystical Space Typhoon. Sometimes it's good to hold those. And in this format, it's a lot better to know when to use it and when not to use it. Since continuous spell and trap cards are more prevalent, field spell cards are a lot more prevalent, holding that Mystical Space Typhoon might actually win you the game more often than not. Being able to stop a Tinky, a Sphere, Harpy's Hunting Ground, Spellbook Tower, and any of those cards in between can be instrumental to winning or losing the game. Typhoon has definitely had his role increased because of the reliance on spell and traps in the game, and even been backed up by Twister. The only reason why Twister isn't in here is because I believe Winter made a really good point. Twister is just a Mystical Space Typhoon. It's a 5th, 6th, or 7th. Actually, I don't think it was Winter. I think it was the guy with the I forget his name. I want to call him Vexter. I want to say the guy with the penguin off of Kirby. Him. He's a really good guy. I like him. Shout out to you. Sorry, I can't remember your name on the spot of a video. But Mystical Space Typhoon, like I said, is really one of that. You really want to be conservative. And typically, if you're playing Royal Decree, you're probably playing Mystical Space Typhoon. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is Full House. Full House says select 2 spell or trap cards on the field, face up, and then 3 face downs. Now, this is typically a sideboard card, mainly because of how the way it's played. This card is extremely good against Fire Fist. While I've always told people that Overworked has never been a genuine answer to Fire Fist, Full House just might be. being able to destroy the Tenki, the Tensu, and 3 Backrow, GG, bro, GG. Because the Fire Fists really need their Backrow, or mainly their spells and traps to survive. And plus that +1 whatever trash fist that's running around, it's heavily reliant on Backrow, Tenki, and Tenki, which Full House definitely can address. Another thing is that Full House is not specific to just their side of the field. You can select cards on your side of the field as well. That can really be taken advantage of if you use Full House on your Abyss Sphere. Chain some Abyss Sphere combos with it and do all that other stuff. Excuse me. If your face-up Tinkies are dead and you really need to hit your opponent's back row, it's just so much win with this card, and it's just definitely a great sideboard. Obviously, it's not great against mermails, but mermails do like to side it, like I aforementioned before. The last card that we are going to be talking about is Forbidden Lance. Forbidden Lance says target one face-up monster on the field. Until the end phase, it loses 800 attack, but it's unaffected by the effects of other spells and trap cards. Now, there's a saying that I like to say about Forbidden Lance and Mystical Space Typhoon. This card asks for permission. Yes, Mystical Space Typhoon asks for permission. Why does Mystical Space Typhoon ask for permission? Because you're trying to preemptively destroy the back row. You're trying to preemptively get rid of the opponent's resources, and you're trying to preemptively do things. While Forbidden Lance asks for forgiveness. When you have your monster on the board and you're trying to push for extra damage, or you're trying to summon your monster, you're trying to bait out your opponent, trying to make them neg or use their cards so you can chain Forbidden Lance to protect your monster, which is just like, sorry, you're gonna take damage anyways. Forbidden Lance is a really, really good pseudo spell and trap destruction card because of that asking for forgiveness, barring Solemn Warning, Black Horn of Heaven, and a host of other. Actually, I think that's about it. That's all the good ones, unless you run around Horn of Heaven, and I guess a couple of other trap cards. Forbidden Lance completely gets rid of the threat. Now, the reason why we have moved past just running Forbidden Lance and, not running Mystical Space Typhoon is because, like I said before, Mystical Space Typhoon gets rid of Tenki, gets rid of Sphere, gets rid of a whole bunch of other host of cards that Forbidden Lance just couldn't even fathom about touching. Also, Forbidden Lance is good with the battle damage, being able to go into damage step, which not a lot of cards can do, and then decrease the attack of an opponent's monster by at least 800 points. Even more if the monster is affected by a spell card previously, could practically win you the battle more often than not. Just a very versatile card, just like all these, well, I'm sorry, Royal Decree isn't versatile. Just very versatile, just like Mystical Space Typhoon. And when played correctly, you can get maximum damage with it. Thank you guys for watching in this segment of the Cali Effect. Please like, comment, subscribe. Also, believe the hype and enjoy.